Floyd Mayweather Jr. had some explaining to do after the Nevada State Athletic Commission expressed concern about particular scenes from his reality show. I'm Antonieta Collins with your ESPN headline. We are joined by ESPN boxing writer Dan Rayfield. Dan, what was about the reality show that drew the commission's interest?
Well, they were concerned about something specific that took place on the second episode of the reality show All Access, which Showtime uses to help promote the pay-per-view for Floyd's fight. So he had his recent fight against Marcos Maidana that took place on September 13th. And in one of the episodes leading up to that fight, there were scenes in that second episode, two things that drew the commission's attention. One was elements of the sparring sessions that went on in Floyd's gym in Las Vegas, where a couple different things happened, including an apparent mismatch of sparring where one of the fighters was clearly outgunned and just basically beaten down by a bigger, stronger opponent who was more experienced. And the second one where supposedly the two fighters were in what Floyd calls a doghouse fight, which is basically just fight as hard as you can. This is not just a practice sparring session. And they fought 31 consecutive minutes, one round that lasted 31 minutes without a break, which the commission was, very concerned about because nobody in the gym seemed to show any concern for the health and safety of the boxer. And there was another scene in the same episode in which Floyd Mayweather is at his Las Vegas house surrounded by several girlfriends, and supposedly they are rolling and smoking marijuana. Now, Floyd is not shown smoking marijuana himself, but certainly that raised ire with the commission as well, and he was questioned about that at Tuesday's commission meeting.
So what did he have to say in regards to this?
Well, what he said was that both aspects of it were staged, that they were fake, that the marijuana was fake, that they didn't really use real marijuana, that there was that the 31-minute sparring session was not true, that they had several breaks during the span of that sparring session, and that essentially they staged these aspects of the reality show simply to help stoke interest and sell pay-per-view fights, or pay-per-view buys to help him generate more interest and more money for the fight.
And talking about this generating of interest for the fights, how do you think this will impact future fights as they build them up with shows like this one?
Well, I think most people accept the fact that for any reality show, whether it's boxing related or any other TV show that people watch, that reality shows, there's aspects of it that are slightly contrived or that are maybe not exactly as they may seem. But to outright state that they rigged it, basically, and that it was completely false, they outright lied about a 31-minute sparring session, or that they put fake marijuana in just to make it look like it was more interesting. Which, and I'm skeptical that either of those are necessarily true. Just because Mayweather said it, and the commission seemed to shake their head and said, "Okay, fine," doesn't mean he's actually telling the truth. But be that as it may, I think that it shows to people that these shows, in many ways, particularly All Access, and to a other degree any other boxing reality show, they kind of jump the shark. That you're either going to get a good match, and people are going to be interested in the fight, or not. You can't just take some manufactured stuff on a 25-minute television show and all of a sudden create interest in the fight because you're doing fake things. So I think they need to reassess the way they do these reality shows. Either show us really what's happening in a training camp, or take us behind the scenes of a guy's life, and stop trying to make this into something that it's not.
Now, Dan, will there be any punishment from the commission to Mayweather?
There is no punishment. I mean, when they asked him to appear before the panel, they basically said, listen, this is not about making any kind of disciplinary action or anything. This was just they wanted to hear what he had to say about it. He answered their questions. The commission said that they answered them to their satisfaction. And basically what they said was when they wrapped up that portion of their commission meeting, they told Floyd and Floyd's people, said, listen, next time you do an all-access show, do us a favor, let the commission know about these fake elements ahead of time so we can be aware when they come on the screen. Because the fact is the commission, they found out about it just by watching the show after the fact and being concerned because of what they saw. So they basically said, hey, tell us ahead of time and there won't be any issue.
ESPN boxing writer Dan Rayfield with the insight. For more on this, make sure to keep it right here on ESPN.com.